Hello and welcome to this video dedicated to music libraries and websites where you can sell your music online. None of the websites that are listed in this video have endorsed the video or paid me for a placement. I'm just going to literally list websites that I think you should consider to sell either your instrumentals, your songs, or your beats. It doesn't really matter what type of music you do or what genre. If you are serious about making money with your music and you are a composer or a film scoring musician, or you're just somebody that wants to make some money selling their music to music production companies, music labels, or video production companies, then you should definitely check the list of websites that are at the bottom of this video. So I will start with websites that for me are a must go, and I have pretty much all my catalog of music from classical guitar pieces to original instrumental music featured on these websites. And some of this you might heard about them. Probably you see them in other YouTube videos because music producers or film scoring musicians talk about them. But in my opinion, you should have your own approach to each one of them. There are certain things that are universal. For example, you will see that each website has a very specific requirements about how you have to submit your music. So some of the websites will require that you're familiar with things like metadata or tagging, and they will provide full, instructions and guidelines on how to do that. But you will definitely have to dedicate time in order to make sure that your music is right for the standard requirements. Otherwise, it's just gonna be a back and forth of emails, and you're gonna get frustrated and you're gonna give up. But remember, as just like anything in music business, it will take some time to see concrete results. You want, it, I mean, it will be really difficult, but you will be able to see a placement in the next week. It might happen, but my opinion is to build over time. My opinion is all about short-term decisions with long-term consequences. So the websites that I have listed in the below this video are Audio Socket, which is a pretty good website, and again it works with the usual tagging of genres, moods, and themes. And what you do is that you basically look for in the frequently asked questions section, which most of the times is the section of the websites you want to check, especially if you want to submit your music, because most of these websites, they don't accept unsolicited material. They want to hear what you're doing. They want to have somebody that has a pretty good catalog, so at least like 50 tracks. I always suggest to have at least 300, but 50 tracks will be, a good start. It will show that you have consistency and dedication, and that you're not here for the short run. You're here to stay. You want to be part of the music business and the film scoring community for a long time. So, for example, right here it says, like if you want to get the music on Audio Socket, it won't be easy and so forth. Well, you don't have to give up, because if you see things like this, you can literally start to interact. And actually, this is how I got my music on Audio Socket. I literally typed in my name and typed in my email, my phone number, and then I started to chat. And one of their customer representatives, which I don't know if it was a bot, but it doesn't really matter at this stage, sent me the email of one of the A&R representatives. And what they did, they asked me for a bio or a link to my bio and two music links. By music links, you don't have to stress about it. You don't have to think about immediately if you want to go with Dropbox, if you want to go to Box. I will actually make a dedicated video about the difference between Dropbox and Box, and why certain music supervisors have a very particular way of listening to music. But in general, what I suggest is to keep it simple. Use your Spotify page. Think that nowadays Spotify is a little bit like what it used to be a Facebook page 2 years ago. If you get your bio, if you get, if you sign up with the Spotify for Artists, you can get full access to all the information that is about you, including links to your Wikipedia page if you have one, or your Instagram page, what you're doing. If you're performing live, you can put your live dates. You can have a full profile on Spotify, and that is amazing because it's practically 100% free. You don't have to do anything else. You're right there, and you're accessible to music lovers. But in this case, in particular, you're accessible to music supervisors. So when you go to Audio Socket, you just send an email, and you want to, to taste the water. You want to check what's going on. You want to know if they're looking for new content, if their A&R team is, interested in listening to new material. And it's the same for MusicBed. Now, MusicBed is a little bit more complicated because if you scroll down, you actually don't really have a way to get in touch with them except for the contact us form, and you can email them, but they only have a customer support thing. And if you type something like submit music, you actually, you know, you can see this one, but it won't really help you. Um, it will tell you that they're not, it's not easy to reach directly their team, but they do say that their team is adding new artists every single week. Now you need to think that all these platforms like MusicBed or Pond5 or Audio Network or Score, all the platforms that are listed here, they make money on your music. So they have all the interest in getting new, diverse, and high quality audio content. So in my case, for example, one of the things that really helped was to be featured on the Spotify Classics Picks, which is it's a 500,000 followers Spotify playlist that features new music pretty much every single week, but it's specifically centered around classical music. And what I did is that about 6 months ago, I took my huge classical music catalog that I recorded ages ago. It was between 99 and 2003, and I literally scheduled a song per day. And this is going to go, it's going to be running until winter 2020, pretty much. And what happens is that, I mean, I didn't write any of the songs. They're all, classical music, like Baroque stuff, Bach, Beethoven, Chopin. But the consistency is that it makes me appear at least as somebody you want to go to, like a go-to destination for a music supervisor that is looking for classical guitar pieces. So you want to have that. So if you're very good about playing piano, or if you're very good about playing guitar, you should definitely think about building a repertoire around your main instrument, and then have, being eclectic about composing music, but always be focused about what you want to achieve. If you want to achieve a placement in a movie, if you want to get cues placements, so all the little snippets of music that you see in HBO shows or Bravo TV shows, where you have like 4 or 5 different 5 seconds pieces of music in 1 minute of actual video content. If you want to achieve that, it's very different from working in the trailer music industry, where the requirements are very different, and is also extremely different from placing a beat with a hip hop artist. That's a completely different world, but they all have sort of roots and kind of like standard or by default things that you need to make sure that you follow. Otherwise, you won't be able to, you know, be more forward, be better than all the mediocrity that is around. And by mediocrity, unfortunately, I don't mean people that are not good about music. I mean people that they are, maybe they're very talented, but they don't have all the music business and management sides sorted out. And this is what we want to do, because even if you have a small catalog, you can get several placements if you follow all the steps properly. Now, in this video, I'm not going to explain anything about how to sort out your music library and how to do tagging and all that kind of stuff, but I do want you to check these websites and see from the way they have their their setups, their layouts, even just the websites, the way structured, you can get an idea of how the world of music placements works. So all the websites that are listed here are, in my opinion, a must go. You need to check even places like Pump Audio, which is basically the Getty Images music library, and you can submit the music. You can go here. You need to make sure that if you use browsers like Brave, for example, or if you're more on the nerdy side and use stuff like Tor, because you don't want to be tracked, you need to make sure that you have all those, shield plugins turned off, because a lot of these websites are actually like not exactly up to time. They're pretty old school. So you want to make sure to be able to see all the different sections of the websites, because you might be missing out on submission forms or contact forms. Another very good website is Storyblocks, and Storyblocks is pretty straightforward. They do video, audio, and images, so they're sort of Getty Images, but on a smaller scale. But they have very good clients, and clients is another really important point that you want to check in a website. But in general, when you scroll all the way down, check for things like membership plans. Most of the times you don't have to pay to join any of these websites. It's not like taxi.com, which is good for certain things, but it's pricey because it's more than $200 per month, per year, and the results are not guaranteed, and it doesn't work for a lot of people. You have to be very specific about what you want to do. So you can click on plans and pricings, and make sure that you're not joining the website as a business that wants to license music. You want to sell your music, which is a completely different thing. And Pond.5 is very straightforward. You can just click on join now, and then you just fill in this. You can also join with Facebook. I don't recommend that. When you join these websites, always use a dedicated email address only for music business. Like if you have a website and is about your band or your solo career as an artist, you want to keep the two things on a business side separate. You can kind of like intertwine them and combine them on an artistic level. Like you can be a great performance artist, like you can be playing jazz or heavy metal or whatever you want, and then having the same music for placements. That's totally cool. But you don't want to get emails mixed up. You don't want to get an email which is for a live gig mixed up with an email from a film director requesting one of your songs or instrumentals for one of their trailers or shows or episodes. So to finish up, to wrap up, there is another part that is, that I wanted to check, which is obviously taxi.com. I already mentioned that. The pricey, but they have a very, very good YouTube website, a YouTube page. And one of the things that they will tell you is that a lot of the old school and professional music libraries or music placements websites look like the musicloops.com website, which is one of the websites that I mentioned in the first section here in the comments. And what do I mean by old school? I mean that their user interface is pretty minimalistic. It's not that great, but they get a lot of placements, and they're very serious about selecting the right composers, the right producers to work with. So for example, if you look down here, as usual, in the frequently asked questions section, that's where all the magic happens. You can see things like, how do I contact you guys? How do I know when you have new music on your catalog? And I think it was right here. There is a section where this one where they explain exactly how to submit new music is the infamous submission guidelines. You're always gonna find this stuff in music libraries, websites, or websites where you can sell your music in general. And as you can see here, they require certain things. I'm not going to go into details, but make sure to read each point carefully. If you're one of those creative people that they don't have a business, side, that they're not really business minded, or you just get bored about business stuff, I suggest you to either have your manager, if you get one, or somebody that you really trust to help you, be having all these points sorted, because music business is one of those things that most of the times they are obscure and people don't really know what it means. And when you want to sell your music, you have to know about music business. You have to know about mechanical royalties, performance royalties, all this kind of stuff. But if you want to focus only on the creative aspect of making music, that is fine, but make sure that you get the business side sorted out. Otherwise, your career will probably be only performing, which is, cool. There's nothing wrong about that. But since this video is for music producers and theme scoring composers and in general people that produce music indoors, you have to know about music business. And I'll make a few videos where I suggest a few links and things to check, because unless you go to proper resources like websites of ASCAP is very good, the website of BMI is great, usually performance right organizations has very good resources, or you're doing Berklee College of Music, or you're doing the Musician Institutes of Technology, the MIT, all these different places, they have very good resources for music business. But you need to make sure that if somebody comes to you and tells you, hey, I know what this is talking about, okay, cool, show me a proof that you're making a living out of music business. Show me a proof that you know what you're doing and what are your results. So be careful. You have to read through the points, and you need to know what each one of these websites are asking you to do in order to get your music on their listings, literally. But you also need to make sure that you know what you're doing. Otherwise, as long as they are very patient, because they are patient with with composers or artists that they think they have great content, you still need to follow step by step the requirements. And having an education about music business, it will speed up everything and make everything so much easier. Trust me. So check out these links, including iStock Photo, Rumblefish, extrememusic.com, music dealers. I think the first step will be for you to build up and manage your music libraries if you haven't done that yet, and sort out all the basic stuff, and then go to these websites and drop your content, send emails, be polite, very quick, 2 lines, 3 lines in the email. Don't write long emails, and listen to what they want from you, and then you're gonna get your music here. And after that, as usual, everything will be up to quality, consistency, and dedication. If you have these three, you will get a placement for sure. See you next time.